When we think of pirates, Vikings or famous coursers usually come to mind. But long before them, in the early Middle Ages, Slavic tribes were also actively raiding along rivers and seas. The Slavs who lived along the shores of the Baltic and Black Seas were especially well known for this. One of the most fearsome groups were the Pomeranians and Obotrites, West Slavic tribes who lived along the Baltic coast. They carried out daring raids on the lands of Denmark, Germany and even Scandinavia. These fearless warriors struck terror into the coasts of Europe starting in the 9th century. They launched bold attacks, destroyed towns, raided merchant ships and even clashed with the powerful fleets of the Vikings and Germans. One of the most notorious attacks by Slavic pirates was the destruction of Hedeby, the main Viking trading port located in what is now modern-day Denmark. In the 11th century, a massive army of Slavic pirates attacked the city. They set the wooden buildings on fire, seized a huge amount of loot and left Hedeby in ruins. The blow was so devastating that the city soon fell into complete decline. It was a symbolic moment. The Slavs had proven they could fight the Vikings on their own territory. Lübeck, which would later become one of the main centers of Hanseatic trade, was still a small but strategically important town in the 12th century. It changed hands several times between the Slavs and the Germans. In the 12th century, Slavic pirates attacked Lübeck, laid siege to the city and completely looted it. They destroyed the fortress, wiped out the garrison and carried off a large haul. It seems these pirates were no less terrifying than the infamous pirates of the Caribbean. On the northern rivers flowing into the Baltic, a group of pirates known as the povolniks operated. These were mercenaries in the service of the Novgorod prince, who in their spare time launched pirate expeditions, raiding merchant ships and small towns along the rivers. Sometimes they even ventured into the Baltic Sea. On one occasion, they even made it all the way to Stockholm and plundered the city. In the mid-12th century, German crusaders launched a major offensive against the lands of Obotrites and the Lutici, destroying their fortresses and forcing them to convert to Christianity. In a response, a united fleet of Pomeranians and Rani launched an attack on the Danish city of Copenhagen. They burned the port, looted ships, and took prisoners. This wasn't just a pirate raid. It was a political act of revenge for the German invasion. After that, the Danes began fighting piracy more actively and even attempted to conquer the island of Rügen, the main stronghold of the Slavic coursers. One of the most mysterious episodes in the history of Slavic pirates in the Baltic is the destruction of Vineta, a legendary city often called the Slavic Atlantis. It's believed that Vineta was a wealthy trading center, but it was eventually looted and destroyed either by Vikings or by German crusaders. According to one theory, the city itself was a pirate stronghold, and its destruction was an act of revenge for years of relentless raids. But the strangest part is that the exact location of Vineta remains unknown to this day. Its ruins may still lie hidden beneath the waters of the coast of Germany or Poland. Slavic pirates in the Baltic are a forgotten but important part of history. They didn't just raid and plunder, they influenced politics, fought against the Germans and Vikings, and defended their own lands. Their bold operations proved that the Baltic in the Middle Ages wasn't just a Viking domain, but also a battleground for Slavic seafarers. In the south, Slavic pirates operated in the Black Sea, posing a serious threat to the Byzantine Empire. The ancient Rus, a mix of Slavs and Scandinavians, launched full-scale naval expeditions against Constantinople. Some of these raids were so successful that Byzantium was forced to pay massive ransoms. Starting in the late 6th century, Slavic tribes, especially the Antis and the early Rus, carried out sea raids, attacking coastal cities and plundering Byzantine ships. Once, a fleet of Rus ships, dozens of light vessels, swiftly crossed the Black Sea and appeared off the coast of Constantinople. The Byzantines were caught off guard, as their main fleet was away fighting on another front. The pirates couldn't capture the city itself, but they burned the suburbs, looted monasteries, and sailed away with their ships full of plunder. This raid sent a clear message to Byzantium. The Slavs had become a naval power that could no longer be ignored. Slavic pirates regularly attacked Byzantine cities along the Crimean coast. In the 10th century, after defeating the Khazars, Prince Sviatoslav sent his warriors and Rus pirates to cleanse the Black Sea coastline. One of their targets was Suraj, now known as Sudak in Crimea, an important trading port and hub of Byzantine Khazar commerce. Slavic pirates also repeatedly raided Korsun, today's Sevastopol, threatening Byzantine control in the region. Prince Oleg's campaign against Constantinople has gone down in legend. He gathered a massive fleet of Rus and Slavic warriors and sailed into the shores of Byzantium. The Byzantines closed off the entrance to the Golden Horn with a great chain, hoping to block the Rus from getting through. But Oleg came up with a brilliant plan. He placed the ships on wheels, raised the sails, and had them pull over land, right up to the walls of Constantinople. The sight was so terrifying that the Byzantines immediately agreed to peace and paid a huge tribute. This operation proved that the Rus were not just barbarians, but skilled tacticians capable of outsmarting the powerful Byzantine Empire. In addition to large-scale expeditions, Slavic and Rus pirates regularly carried out raids along the Byzantine coast of Asia Minor. One such raid was described by the Byzantine chronicler Leo the Deacon. The Rus, having set out to sea, plundering towns and villages along the Paphlagonian coast, taking captives and looted treasures with them. Amestris, an important port in Asia Minor, was attacked by Rus in the early 10th century. The city was besieged and its inhabitants were taken captive. This resembled typical Viking tactics, swift strikes followed by quick retreat with plunder. Slavic pirates used light, fast vessels comparable to Viking longships. These boats were perfectly suited for lightning-fast attacks and swift retreats. They could navigate both seas and rivers, making the pirates nearly impossible to catch. They skillfully hid in coastal bays, maneuvered through swampy river mouths, and launched surprise attacks on merchant ships. Many traders preferred to pay tribute rather than risk being looted. For Slavic pirates, raiding wasn't just a way to get rich, it was a way of life. They captured prisoners and sold them into slavery, plundered ships and villages, but unlike the Vikings, their actions were less thoroughly documented. Their goal wasn't just loot, it was also power and influence. The pirates launched daring campaigns along the Danube, and their fleet was a formidable force that repeatedly challenged the might of the Byzantine Empire. One of the most fascinating and large-scale Slavic pirate campaigns along the Danube is linked to Prince Sviatoslav. He operated like true naval courser, relying on swift attacks, cunning strategies, and expert river warfare tactics. A massive fleet of Rus and Slavic pirates sailed up the Dnieper and into the Black Sea. Their long warboats, similar to Viking longships, quickly reached the mouth of the Danube. The Byzantines likely expected Sviatoslav to carry out a quick raid and retreat with plunder, but he had bigger plans. His fleet and army crushed the Bulgarian militia and captured 80 towns, including the fortress of Dorostollen, modern-day Silistra in Bulgaria. Sviatoslav wasn't just raiding. He liked the region so much that he declared he wanted to move his capital here. But the Byzantines could not allow that. Before long, they drove the Slavs out of their territory. The history of Slavic pirates was almost erased. Many Western European chronicles either ignored their existence or portrayed them as savages and barbarians. Yet Slavic pirates acted in line with the norms and customs of their time. Moreover, many Slavic peoples were later Christianized and pirate raids gradually disappeared from their culture. However, traces of those bold times live in folk legends and archaeological discoveries. The pirate raids of the Slavs are a forgotten but incredibly fascinating chapter of history. They were just as bold and daring as the Vikings, yet somehow ended up in the shadows. Their ships sailed across seas and rivers. Their raids were feared by kings, and their exploits became the stuff of legend. Leave us a comment and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss more stories from the little-known world of the ancient Slavs.